gonna get it right one day.
You know, every day, try again. That life.
Hey, honey, if at first you don't succeed,
Forever.
try again.
Happy Friday.
Don't.
Friday.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, Friday. I love that.
Friday, honey.
We made it another week. Why do we say this every week?
Because the earth is ghetto.
The earth is ghetto. That's all I know. I know you know.
That's another episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Hello, Randolyn.
Hi, Randolyn.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, everybody. We're gonna wait for some of the folks to come on in.
Yes.
Come into the space.
Hey.
Okay.
Oh, and so I came to Jamaica today. I found these in the store.
Ooh, come on, Snap.
Jamaican jerk wavy potato chips. I was like, okay.
What?
Are they good?
It was my first time trying it. It's actually pretty good.
Okay.
It's weird. Like, I feel like it's like a chicken, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? So
nice.
I have to bring y'all some. Anyway.
Okay, awesome. I want to try them. Hello, everybody watching. Hello, Camille.
Hello, Camille. How you doing, sis?
So we're going to ask everybody what we ask every single week. Welcome to the Sip is Friday. Go ahead and hit that share button. Y'all see that? Facebook doesn't let you do watch parties anymore, but you can share this video.
Yes. I know, right?
Right. But you can share this video to your timeline. And so before we get started with the show today, thank you so much for tuning in another week of the SIP podcast. I am Monique. We got Raj.
Yeah.
So check us out on social media, guys. Make sure you're following us on the gram at the @SIP_podcast. Make sure you email us if you have a question. We'd love to start doing like some questions of the week. Like if you need some advice or whatever it is, you can email us at heygirl@thesippodcast.com. And we would love to read your, anonymously if that's cool. We would love to read your email and maybe give you a little advice on the show. Also, if you're interested in becoming a patron on our Patreon, Carrie's going to put the link in the comments for our Patreon. And so thank y'all so much. Oh, and the last thing I will ask y'all to do is to head on over to your podcast platform of choice and rate us. Y'all are really rating us, and we really appreciate y'all.
Yes,
absolutely. Thank you so much. We are so excited for today's show.
Yes.
I am just like beaming with joy, but we'll get to that. So we're gonna start the show. First off, what we sipping on tonight, ladies?
What you sipping on, Carrie?
I'm but today I just got me some peppermint tea. I'm feeling really Jamaican. I'm just like in that space. So I'm just gonna
You said you're feeling really Jamaican?
Right. I'm just gonna let it happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, I call real quick. Am I back? Can y'all see me?
Yeah, it was kind of breaking up, but you said peppermint tea. I heard
some
you
peppermint
tea.
Yeah,
salud. Awesome. Salud.
Well, I don't have any wine tonight. Oh, Nick, we were at the same time.
No, you go.
I don't have any wine tonight, and I will gladly take a sponsorship, but this is not sponsored. I'm drinking Spindrift sparkling water, and I just found out they have an orange mango flavor, and it is so good, y'all. So this
I like that one.
To be my life.
It is good. I like that one. I've had that one. I think I had it last summer. It's refreshing.
Yeah.
Wait, it's a sparkling water?
It's a sparkling water, but it's got fresh fruit juice in it.
Listen.
Right.
Oh, no, I just wanted to make sure that everybody heard.
Right. You be so shady about my La Croix. Okay.
Listen, Linda. Me and Seltzer are forming a relationship of sorts.
That Colorado-ness.
Listen, I battled a soda addiction for years, as we say in Kentucky, pop.
Right.
Pop.
Welch's Grape and Tahitian Treat was my joint.
Okay.
Honey, yes. Not Tahitian Treat.
Child. Give me a Canada Dry pineapple, because I don't think they have that here.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a Canada Dry pineapple. Girl, yeah. What you know about that?
Nah, I ain't never heard of it. That sounds like all kinds of deliciousness.
Straight crack.
Straight crack. Okay. With some chips, some grippos. Which is a barbecue chip that comes out of Louisville, Kentucky. What's like the Midwest? Ohio, Michigan might have them. Yes, and Steffi knows all about the grippos. Yes. So, I don't drink all that soda anymore because it's not healthy. Right. So I am trying to, invite my palate to enjoy the seltzer.
Lord, without the faces and whatnot, but okay.
The lemon one is still my favorite one because it gives me a sense of like lemon water.
Yeah.
But don't come out here with the pears and the grapes because it ain't
the pears and the grapes.
It ain't right. Well, that's why I think these are good because you do taste a little bit of flavor. Like they do have actual real fruit.
And that's what I like about the Spindrift because La Croix ain't got it.
It's still good.
Listen, that lemon La Croix tastes like cream soda. Wow. Good. I'm just saying.
It does?
100%. I mean, like without all the guilt, without all the bullshit.
Without all the guilt. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'll try it.
Right.
I'll try it.
She's gonna be shady.
Wait, I love how Carrie was like, did she just say she likes seltzer?
Wait.
Oh God, that's hilarious. Too funny. Word. Well, I'm having a little Stella. Carrie done put me on to these fruity Stellas, child.
Girl, I got you.
This is the pineapple one tonight. So we're going to just do a little taste test and just see.
Okay. That looks good.
Swatch the face.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't like it as much as the peach.
Yo, that peach is hard. Like a summer, like it just gives you all the summer vibes. But
it does. This tastes like a pineapple gummy bear.
Okay. I could get with that, actually.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, especially if they have like a pineapple mango or something.
Yeah, if there was a little mango in with it, I think it would make it better. But it's good. So tell us what y'all are sipping on in the comments.
Yes.
And let's get started. We got some sips for the week.
We do. And I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm excited about these sips. I think, what's so funny? And listen, I would like for y'all to put on our Facebook page any Sisters in Power that you would like to recognize for the week, because it just helps us. One, we always want to be illuminating powerful women of color who are doing dope things. And two, if there's something that we're missing, we want y'all to put us on. So please definitely post it on our page. But for this week, I have two major ones. First of all, the incredible young actress and producer Zendaya. And I gotta just say, investor, like she's her own mogul business. She's not just an actress out here in these streets, 100%. But she is the producer of the film Malcolm and Marie. And this actually happened back in January, but people are just hearing about it now. She gave her crew equity shares up to 1% each of the film so that they could all get a bonus after the film sold. And she said that she was inspired to do that because during COVID times, how much they had to shut down, she wanted to do something that would really actually boost her crew's benefit from the film. And actually, Malcolm and Marie sold to Netflix for $30 million, according to Variety, which means everyone on the cast and crew who had the points was literally handsomely rewarded for their work. So even if the crew member had just 1 point, that could equal almost $300,000 in profit from the sale of one film for one project. So
that's how you do it.
Hey, we got to win together. That's beautiful.
That's right.
Incredible. So shout outs in there. And what a power move, right? To
Absolutely.
Be so young. Yeah.
But to also not be selfish and greedy.
Facts.
Right.
Which is what the most of the world is. But to actually look out for those, because if it wasn't for the crew, none of these shows and movies would get shot. So for you caring enough about them to include them, child, she's a forever sip.
Right.
100%.
I love her. 100%. That was really great, Raj.
And also, you have enough. Like you can actually do first. Some of your goods.
Like, why can't we thrive together? Like, you out here eating and you got me on this ramen noodle. Like, come on. That's not.
Exactly.
That's real. That's real. We
Exactly.
can, yeah, that's beautiful. Big up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, and then on the other end of the spectrum, because Zendaya's in her 20s, on the other end of the spectrum, my sister in power of the week is a woman named Viola Fletcher. She was one of the last remaining survivors of the Tulsa massacre, and she spoke in Washington this Wednesday. Miss Viola was 7 years old when she witnessed one of the worst acts of racial violence the U.S. has ever seen. An angry white mob, we already know this story, they rampaged through Tulsa's Greenwood district in Oklahoma, killing hundreds of Black people and leaving her thriving neighborhood in ashes in 1921. This woman was 107 years old, and she testified before members of a House Judiciary Committee on Wednesday, calling for justice and for the country to officially acknowledge the massacre ahead of the 100th anniversary on May 31st. And this, right, this one, she's a sister in power, but at the same time, this makes me so angry. I was talking to Ryan about this earlier, and he was like, yo, what are the statute of limitations on genocide? Like,
right? We just gonna be like, oh yeah, nah, we just...
like, we gonna forget about it. It didn't happen.
Right. 100 years?
Exactly.
And they still haven't acknowledged it?
Right. Right.
The hell?
Right.
So I'm trying to find my coots today. Forgive me, please. I gotta find it somewhere. But
listen,
you ain't gotta have it about this.
Oh, right? Like, she's 107 years old.
107.
She could be living her life with her family, whatever the case might be, and you have out here testifying about some bullshit that you already know about. Like, you know that was fucked up.
Right.
And you gonna have, come on now, like, that is insane.
But not only that, oh, go ahead, Nick.
No. Now, just to say that she's lived this entire life with really no progress or change around this.
Right.
100 years and.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like you're asking for the government to acknowledge something that happened 100 years ago. And we can't even get the government to acknowledge something that happened on January 6th of 2021.
Girl, if you don't preach, if you don't talk that talk, man.
You know, it just makes me sad. And it also, but I also am inspired because 100 years old, 107 years old, you still came all the way to Washington to tell them to give you your justice.
Right,
so,
100%.
You know,
100%.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and that says so much about her, but that says so much about, like, you know, how much liberation really means to us as a people. You know what I'm
saying?
Like, it's everything. And so, like, to be 107 years old and say, like, I'm going to today, like, get myself together and take my 107 years old, take myself down to the legislature. Like, I'm doing all this work, but I'm gonna do it, okay? Like, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna speak my piece and I'm gonna tell my truth, and like, I just pray to God they didn't waste goddamn time. Like, that's the thing, you know what I mean? But okay, I'm gonna leave that there.
Listen. Let this be the last year, y'all, that we complain about the same issues in Congress, though, because everybody on this call, everybody who's on this stream has the power to literally, you know, vote for office, go for office, sign up to be a politician if you want to. You can make the change that you want to see in the world. And we need to stop being upset about people who don't make things happen in Washington and actually get something done. We are here right now talking about it, trying to shed a light on it. Y'all could do the same thing. You could write your congressman. You could do all of those things so that we're not in 100, you know, not next year. We're not talking about the 101st year anniversry and the same shit is going on. So y'all know what I'm saying. I might be stuttering, but you heard what I
said. Listen, and we are 100% in agreement, sis. 100%.
Yeah.
Oh man, salute you, Miss Viola.
Yeah.
Doing the work at the tender age of 107.
Mm-hmm. Bless her.
Wow.
Bless her,
God bless her. I know. God bless her. So who you got for the week, Carrie?
Honestly, like y'all have all of my tips. I was gonna say Naomi. So we could just go.
Do hers. Do hers because I could do somebody else. Yeah, go ahead and do Naomi.
I mean, I feel like you a little more paired than I am because I thought you. When I saw it, I was like, oh, she got her. But yeah, I got it.
So I have two sips this week. we're going to start with the incredibly talented tennis player, Naomi Osaka. And I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about this. I'm saluting this sister this week because she has made it a point to not do any press interviews at the French Open due to mental health. She basically wrote, I'm just going to read you guys a little bit of what she wrote on her Instagram account. And I thought it was like taking a huge stand. And I don't know if you guys saw like Serena and Venus comment, like, say that, girl.
Right.
And I was like, yes, they were absolutely just, giving her all the love. But she basically was like, I'm not doing this for mental health reasons. And it's triggering. I'll read a little bit. I've often felt that people have no regard for athletes' mental health. Yeah. And this rings very true whenever I see a press conference or partake in one. We're often sat there and asked questions that we've been asked multiple times before, or asked questions that bring doubt into our minds. And I'm just not going to subject myself to people that doubt me.
Right.
I've watched many clips of athletes breaking down after a loss in the press room, and I know you have as well. And I believe that whole situation is kicking a person while they're down, and I don't understand the reasoning behind it. Me not doing, girl, I was like, yes, me not doing press is nothing personal to the tournament, and a couple journalists have interviewed me since I was young, so I have a friendly relationship with most of them. So her thing is like, I will pay the fine to not talk to y'all, and people are big mad.
Right. Who gonna check me, boo? She said, I said no.
Right. She's like, I said what I said. Okay?
Which y'all not about to do. Because also, I don't know if the sets have changed this year, but I know last year she was she earned, I think it was like $37 million, more than any other female athlete has made in a single year.
Wow.
And at the time, she was only 22. You know what I'm saying? Like more than any other. And so she's like, listen, y'all gonna get out my face. Like I said, what I said, I'm gonna come here and do what I love to do me, and I'm gonna move on with my life, and you just gonna have to deal with it.
Period.
And I love that.
Respect on my name.
Facts.
Okay.
And I just love her. She's kind of like, kind of quiet, but honey, she clapped back. Like, I don't tell you what to do on your job. I'm going to pay the fine. Don't tell me what to do on my job. So we salute you, sis. She does. Like, she got a
little... With the Black Lives Matter thing, too, she was like, nah, nope. Like,
which I'm not going to do.
Right. So
I love her for that. And I know that's not an easy decision to make when you probably feel pressure from the tennis industry and the organization as a whole. But the fact that she stood her ground and did that, I was like, yes, sis, I salute you. So I love her. So my second one is another athlete.
Wait. I'm sorry. What's up, Mel? I had to say, what's up, Mel? And Mel said, self-care at its finest. Good for her for taking a stand. Thank you, Kaz. Good to see you, babe.
Hey, Mel. Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie. What's up, y'all?
Hey, Renee. Hey, Abby. So, yes, absolutely. Self-care at its finest. And speaking of another athlete, Miss Simone the Biles.
Yeah,
honey. Did y'all see that jump?
Girl, I was like, I would have broke everything. But listen.
She said I would have broke everything.
Everything.
Child, I wouldn't even been able to do the run and start that fast.
I would
have been like, I would have bailed right on out. 100%. Somebody said in the comments, and I died. They were like, I just dislocated my shoulder, pulled my hamstring, broke my ankle just by looking at this. Just by watching this. And so, if you haven't heard it, if you haven't seen it, go into YouTube. I'm sure it has millions of views at this point. Sis does like some crazy, insane move that nobody has done because it's dangerous.
Right.
She did it with precision. 3 flips in the air off the ball. And people are big mad.
Okay.
Because she's the greatest. Make it make sense.
Oh, I wanted to say something, but I'm trying to find my cool.
No,
girl, no, I want to be like, y'all could suck. Listen, because she out here, no, real talk. She is out here working her ass off. You know what I'm saying? 100%. Like, you have nothing to say. Like, there is, you can,
Right.
This is the thing between Black excellence and white mediocrity. You can be white, do something hard, and you're praised.
Right.
You are Black, you do something no one else has done, and you are punished because you shouldn't be doing it because you're the best. Like, the logic just doesn't make sense. So, Simone, girl, we are sending you the biggest
100%
ounce of every love and sis. Your hard work has paid off in such a beautiful way, and you are an absolute role model for young Black girls who are gymnasts around the world. We salute you today, tomorrow, and forever. Girl, keep doing that triple flip and make them haters mad.
Haters gonna hate. That's their job. You know.
Yes.
You doing your thing, sis.
Those are our sips for the week.
But this is the beauty of Black people, though. Black people will stunt on you from beyond the grave. I don't care how, you could be mad. You could be big mad. But, like, we still be slaying it. So you might as well just get over it and celebrate it. What's up, dude?
Absolutely. Hey, Ryan.
In the house. Hey, big bro.
I love
Come on,
it.
Charlie.
I'm trying, Jesus. Working on me. Okay.
Listen, real time.
Working on me. I know Raj has been asking us since the sip began, and we I don't know where it is, Raj. I'm not sure how to find it.
Okay.
I need right.
Job. Toothless. Okay? Toothless. I'm gonna put it on a t-shirt.
Toothless.
Ain't got nothing. And on the back, ain't got nothing.
Ain't nothing.
Ain't got nothing.
What's that?
And my shirt gonna say, I don't know these people.
I am not with them.
But honey, when you did that read of America, honey, all cool went out the window.
All cool was out the window. You know.
Oh my gosh.
That was gonna go, if I ever want sponsorship, they're gonna be like, Exhibit A, sis. This was But this way you always better make your own money and not worry about nobody's sponsorships. You can always say what the hell you want to say.
That's
and when
right.
You want to say.
Charlie is funny.
That's right.
Charlie is hilarious.
I love Charlie.
Mine is next to yours playing in the park. They have a good ass time. They like.
That's funny.
That's
hilarious.
Listen, the day we can have a sip party in person with all y'all don't even know. We're gonna act up so hard.
All the way up.
I'm gonna have to be put on a 2.
I'm a little nervous. I'm nervous.
It's me 50 already. Lord Jesus, we the interview portion of the night.
I'm just feeling warm in my chest. Okay,
just warm in the chest.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little warmth. Okay.
What's up, Joe Foke? What's up?
Yes, hey sis. So those are our sips for the week, y'all. Please, as Raj said, if you have somebody that you want to share with us, who you think is a sip, we would absolutely love to shout them out on the show. So email us at heygirl@thesippodcast, and we will make that happen.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So y'all already know. What? Is there ever gonna be a week?
Is it that time? Is it time? I got chips ready.
Wait, let me refresh my drink. I'm doing extras tonight because I'll be extra thirsty. Hold on a second. Go ahead, girl. I'm listening.
So we have a couple of
Am I loud?
BANs. And, I'll start. I'll start with mine.
Carrie trying to crunch all quiet. I love it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
This is kind of a silly one, but still needs to be addressed. I don't know what they're doing over there in Kenya, but let me just read this a little bit. It's kind of like,
and we
funny.
love Kenya, and we love Kenya.
We love Kenya. We love Kenya.
But this one.
But I really noticed that a lot of these things happen in churches and stuff over there.
Mm-hmm.
Not that BA and stuff don't happen in churches here. It's just it's a different branch off the tree of crazy.
Right. Off the tree of crazy.
I'm just gonna read you guys the title of the article, which I have anointed parts.
Wait, can you say that again? I'm sorry.
Me too.
The title of the I'm gonna read a little bit of this.
Oh no, she's breaking up.
I am.
Okay, you back.
You back. Go ahead. Go ahead. Damn, internet.
I haven't been to
Right.
parts.
Wi-Fi has been trashed since the pandemic, and I'm sick of
Facts.
Xfinity, and y'all charge an arm and a leg to be trashed.
Facts.
So
Get together.
y'all will be it. Okay.
I need a rebate. Right.
100%.
A rebate. Absolutely. So I'm just going to read you the title of this article, and I'm going to read just a small smidge of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's titled, I Have Anointed Parts.
Hallelujah.
Meet the female pastor claiming sleeping with her cures your infertility.
Sis.
A popular pastor has shocked Kenyans and the world after saying that she has the cure for men's infertility between her legs.
Girl.
Throw it up in the air and it just turns into sunshine.
Child. Pastor Mrs. Veronica. This is what they call her. Pastor
Stop.
Mrs.
Exactly.
Veronica. Pastor Mrs. Veronica.
Stop.
Who is the
Renee said
founder?
stop.
Child. Just wait, Renee.
Listen, put the link in the comments, Nick. Carrie.
yeah, let's put the
Y'all
link
need
in
to
the
be for yourself, 100%.
Carrie, you got the link in the group chat. Put it in the comments. Pastor Mrs. Veronica, who is the founder of Life of Faith and Prosperity Ministry, shocked her congregants after making the bold declaration during her preaching. She added that her mission on earth is to cure fertility problems in men, which happens anytime her body fluid touches a man's penis.
Stop it.
God gave me
an
anointed vagina.
You only me too, sis. Amen.
I'm there. Right, Carrie said me too.
Yes. Yes.
You only have to sleep with me and get healed. You only have to sleep with me and get healed of all of your fertility problems. Men have gone through a lot in this generation, and God sent me to liberate them. You can choose to believe me, anointing, or leave it, but it remains true. You know, Pastor Mrs. Veronica, Renee
said not behind the pulpit. Yes, Renee.
Behind the pulpit, sis. And you know them suckers is lined up around the box. And how can one prove of one's infertility? Are you bringing a doctor's note to her? Are we making up Google Docs to get it in?
And not only that, like, are you
getting facts? Drop him again.
Right. Yes. But are you getting pregnant by all these men? That's what I really want to know.
Child, is there protection?
The only way your fluids can touch, sis, is if you know.
Sis.
Jay said, what a coincidence. My vagina also has healing.
Right?
Okay, here's my thing. And now you just hit the nail on the head. And I said this to Nick last week. Here's my thing. Just say you want to be a happy home.
Live your whole life.
Just say that that's really what you want to do, sis. That you just need to be out here healing men with your vagina. Just say that. Ain't nobody gonna judge you for that. I'm gonna judge you if you say you anointed and you doing it for spiritual reasons. But just say that's what you like, sis, and that's the way you want to roll. But this BS about Jesus and Renee said she wheeling and dealing and healing. Listen, sis, she be like dropping in the collection plate on your way out. Amen. And may the Lord keep watch and keep you.
Child, I am so unable. Just go and get you some.
I'm about to start me a church.
Healing properties.
Listen.
I can't do this today. I'm sorry.
The audacity, sis. And y'all want to be out here, but the thing is, it's within the church too. And then you want to be talking about prudes and saving yourself for Jesus, whatever. Sis was like, let's just skip all that. Y'all just come on down to the confessional at around 7 o'clock. I'll meet you in the office.
Yes, I know, girl. When is it taking place? Are you scheduling an appointment?
Right. Appointments? What's going on?
Is it at the church? In the pastor's parlor?
Right. Or does the church pay for a hotel room? Is that
girl, I'm done. Girl, Veronica, get your life. Enjoy your life. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to act like you're doing this for religious purposes.
Also, what wives are saying, oh, yes, I agree. She healed my husband. What evidence are we? Ain't no wife out here talking about, oh yeah, I sent him to Reverend Pastor Veronica, Mrs. whatever her name is.
Mrs. Veronica. Man.
Oh Lord. Okay, that was
anyway.
mine. I know you got one, Raj.
Well, mine is a sad and ridiculous one. So we got the funny one out the way first. But first of all, let me tell y'all something. I only saw one season of Empire, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Ooh.
Because season 2, sis, I couldn't do it. Like after season 1, and what's her name, Cookie kept going back to the man,
it was
and all this
much.
stuff was happening. It was too much. I couldn't do it. So that's all I'm gonna say about Empire. I'm not a big fan. So y'all forgive me. But Bryce Shear Gray is one of the stars of Empire, and he was just sentenced to 10 days in jail following domestic violence charges. But here's the gag. What he did to assault his wife was literally he choked her until she lost consciousness temporarily. And he only got 10 days in jail for it. And I am just so over these black men out here. Not even these black men. I'm so over the system not protecting women when it comes to them being survivors of domestic violence. Why are we even having this conversation? I understand that this man had money and he had clout, which is probably why he only spent 10 days in jail. But seriously,
absolutely.
Until a woman loses
consciousness, and you only get 10 days. And
sis, I'm gonna need you. Okay, if you take, I hope you don't take him back. I really do.
I really hope you do not.
Ain't enough money and clout in the world, sis.
Nah.
Yeah. And if he comes through the door, I hope you greet him with a frying pan. Like, come on, sis. You gotta get it back for the culture. Right.
Like, no.
And people will still cape for him. People will still be like, oh my God, he's the guy from Empire.
This cycle though of male violence against women, it's ridiculous at this point. It's just like all the other violence that's happening in the world. It's just too much. And babe, I hear what you're saying. He said that's brain damage. Mm-hmm. If you're literally choking someone out until they lose consciousness, you are risking brain damage. You are giving them brain damage. And it's just, I'm over it. I don't understand how this man is out and walking among us. He should literally be in jail right now for a good couple years.
And that's a different kind of crazy for you to like literally sit there and choke somebody out that you say you love. The fuck to the way past. Are you serious? There was what?
Is she okay?
Is she? I mean, as far as I know, she is okay. But also, I'm like, where is the rest of the community to come and like beat his ass the minute he walks up?
Beat his entire ass.
People are getting killed over far less. Like, I be wishing that the whole community come together and get these suckers together.
Listen, bring the baseball bats. Let's get it cracking. Y'all know I ain't got no couth when it comes to this.
Absolutely not.
It is completely unacceptable.
Oh, you know how I feel about it. You know how I feel about it. And people will praise these people and be like, oh, she was probably provoking him. And, all, they will blame it on her because he's a celebrity. And they'll just brush it off.
Yeah. So that's it. We're going to move on. I ain't going to keep it low for too long, but that Negro needs to be under the jail.
Under the jail.
Girl, well, his career should be.
And you're right, Ellen. Ellen said that should be attempted murder charge.
I
agree. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, man. Anyway. Well, those were our sips and bans for the week.
Bans.
Listen, if y'all got BANs too, go ahead and email us at heygirl@thesip and we'll share that too.
Right.
So let's get into our special guests. So I am so excited that this woman is here today. Not only is she an incredible woman, educator, mother and wife, she is my mother-in-law. Mother in love, as I like to call her. I will never forget the moment that I met her in October of 2007. And I walk in and she just gives me the biggest hug. I got with Aaron, honey. I'm all in love. I'm like, oh, Lord, I'm about to meet the mama. And, sometimes that can be a very stressful situation. Mm-hmm. The last 14 years that I have known her, she is the epitome of wisdom, strength, love, family, grace, any word that you can think of to describe someone who you just appreciate to the highest level, that is Sherry Brooks Roberts. I am proud to have the Brooks Roberts as my last name, to share that name. And I wanted to have her on here so bad because she's just such an incredible being. And I know for me, she was a godsend in my life. And, you know, I know we're going to do more shows in the future around, like, you know, ways that me and Carrie grew up and things like that. But I always wanted that kind of nurturing motherly love. And God answered my prayer when I met her. And so I have so much adoration, love, and respect for this woman. And I want to read a little bit of her bio before we bring her on. Sherry Brooks Roberts is an educator with 37 years of experience as a teacher and administrator in Boston, Massachusetts. As a kindergarten lead teacher in a community developed school, she witnessed the possibilities and the pitfalls a community school faces firsthand. When she was hired by Boston Public Schools in 1974, the beginning of desegregation in Boston, she was assigned to the hotbed neighborhood of South Boston in an elementary school. This experience shaped her belief that all children, no matter their ethnic, racial background, will respond positively to a teacher who cares for their academic development and emotional well-being and has the expertise to address both. After teaching in South Boston, she collaborated with 2 other educators to develop an innovative and successful Boston school called the Linden Pilot School. The Linden was developed with autonomy to select curricula, hire teachers without union restrictions, set the schedule and the school budget. This school allowed us to make professional decisions based on student progress as identified by formative and standardized measures. Boston Urban Academy is inspired by these experiences. Boston Urban Academy is a free, independent school that is designed to serve families living in poverty who do not have access to high-performing schools in their neighborhoods. BUA is an independent elementary school that accepts all students, regardless of their learning challenges or needs. Currently, Sherry consults with the administrators of the Linden School and has served on the board of the Boston Busing Desegregation Project and continues to serve on various educational panels. Most importantly, she is overseeing the development of the Boston Urban Academy. So I want everybody to join me in bringing my fabulous mother-in-law on the show, Miss Sherry Brooks Roberts. You there, Mom?
I hear you. I'm not there. I don't know why the picture's not there.
I can't see you. I just saw you at the bottom.
I know.
Maybe stop him and start again, just real quick.
Okay, we're gonna do this.
Okay.
Oh, there I am. There I am.
There we go.
But now, okay.
Okay, perfect.
Beautiful.
Hi.
How are you doing?
How are you?
I'm fine. My son set me up on the TV. I can see you guys so well, and
Okay.
yeah.
Nice.
So that
Thank
works.
you, Josh.
Right?
Camera and everything. He's got this whole setup.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Did he give you the gaming setup? He got you all this stuff.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
exactly what it is with a camera.
Yes.
I love it.
But I
Sherry.
appreciate your introduction. I really do, Monique.
Oh,
It was love at first sight between us, and
it
you know,
was.
it really was.
Good. Okay.
I
Y'all better not. It absolutely was.
Yeah.
I have nothing negative to say about this woman at all. She has just been an incredible force and presence in my life. And I see how she is with everyone around her. She loves so fiercely. And I just love you. That's it. Thank you for being here today. So before we get started with question of the day, what you sipping on tonight, Mom?
I have myself a bread blend.
Okay.
Red blend.
And it's delicious, and I've been sipping on it while I've been talking.
Well, cheers to you. Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome.
All right, Carrie, we got a question of the day.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be beautiful. Okay, so this question of the day. I know that we're growing and we want to leave our legacies behind in many ways, and so thinking about your legacy, maybe passing something on to your children, maybe like tradition. What is one tradition that you have come to like really practice and love within your life that you would want to pass on to the future, to your kids? Yeah.
I think probably it would be the loving care that I have for others. I want my kids and those who are younger than them to share their love with people that are not necessarily family, but people that can be family and can be close. So that's I think I'm very family oriented, and my family is vast, and all of their names are not Roberts or Brooks.
Right.
So
That's
I'd like to pass that on.
That's beautiful.
Well, you do, Mom.
Facts.
You absolutely do. And it's apparent in your son.
Yeah.
Because he's one of the most incredible people on the planet. So.
Yes, he is. Aww.
We love you, A.A. Ron.
We love you, A.A. Ron.
There was a pastor in our church that used to call him Big A, Little A, R-O-N.
Oh, that's cute.
See, I'm here for the Aaron stories, man.
100%.
Oh, no.
I know he's like,
no, that's beautiful. That's
I
beautiful.
was gonna say, did I see a shadow just pass by? He probably was like, wait a minute now.
And he's listening too. He's listening. He commented. He's so proud of you, Mom.
That's lovely. What about y'all? Something that you do that you want to pass on?
I mean, if I could say, I would like to pass on like self-care and wellness and health to my children. I want my kids to know a level of awareness of themselves that I've never had. Like, I really want my children to, want to take care of themselves to the ultimate and it be second nature to them. So the dude probably has other thoughts since he's here, but yeah.
That's beautiful.
I love that.
Yeah.
For me, it would absolutely be self-esteem, self-love.
Yeah.
I want my children to continuously know that they are beautiful. They could do anything in this world they put their minds to. And I want that to carry on in their adulthood when they have, I just want this to be like the kind of like the generational break. I want to break that cycle of low self-esteem. And so I just really try to pour into them, and I see them pouring into their friends. Mm-hmm. So I know that they'll grow up and do that, but that would just make me happy forever to know that cycle is being continued.
Go on and preach. Yes, generational curses. And Ryan said, right on, baby. So y'all know.
I got the seal of approval.
Word. I would say for me, something that I really love to do is like write affirmations for myself like every few months or so. I feel like that's like a practice that I want to continue and like teach my kids how to do together. You know what I'm saying? Like, but just teach kids in general like how to speak to yourself with love and grace and respect, and because there's so much negative self-talk that we are taught. You know what I mean? And so like, how do we combat that? We have to like literally get in the practice of like writing it, establishing it, understanding who we are, internalizing it. And so I would love to pass that on.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. There's a book that I just sent to Lila called I Am Enough.
Yes.
I got it and I said I should have gotten two because I want to use that affirmation myself. Mm-hmm. And it's really talking about understanding that everything that you need is within.
That's right.
Yes.
Everything.
Amen.
It's within.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's so dope.
See?
Already.
I'm gonna be no good on tonight.
Speak a word. I know Miss Sherry gonna come and speak a word to us.
Right.
I know it.
Honey, you already know. Get your pencil and your paper, okay? Take notes, okay?
Ready. I'm ready.
Awesome. Well, we're going to get into some questions for you, Mom. First off, tell our viewers and our listeners who Sherry Brooks Roberts is. Who are you?
I am the product of rural New Jersey. Grew up on 13 acres of land. Both my parents raised me. My father was he was one of those quiet activists. He was the first to be in the Lions Club. He was the first to be this, and he was the first to be that. He was an entrepreneur. He did a lot of different things during his life. And my mother was right along with him, right beside him, pushing him, supporting him. And she herself went to school later on in life and became an LPN. She was a go-getter and an investor. That I still haven't learned. I'm still working on learning that. But I came from that area. I was the only, there were two of us, two Black girls in my class, going all the way up through 8th grade. And then I went to Princeton High, Princeton, New Jersey. And when I graduated, I had the choice to go to Princeton University. That was the first year they were accepting women. And to go to Tufts up in Boston. And that's what I decided to do because I didn't want to stay around the house. I would have been home, and I needed to the wings needed to be clipped. Mm-hmm. So I came up to Boston. I went to school, graduated, started teaching.
I love it. So what are some other things that you would describe about your journey or things that you would describe about yourself in your journey of your life?
I would say that I did deal with the whole issue of self-worth, understanding who I was. I was always under pressure. My mom put me in school when I was 3 because I started reading when I was 3. Mm-hmm. And so she was pushing that. And I realized now that I was probably too young. I was 17 when I went to my freshman year. And so I think that I was immature, and I had to learn how to grow up as I was going through life. And I told my son, who is a late bloomer, not Aaron, my other son, he is a late bloomer. I was one of those as well. But I learned to persevere, and I did get that quiet strength from my mom and dad. And I've been able to deal with a lot of things as a result of that.
That is apparent. So apparent. I think even Raj has said it, Carrie has said it, everybody has said it when they meet you, Mom, that you just possess this poise. Like if something is bothering you, it's like you're just able to like, it's not that you're not dealing with it or you don't have the emotion, but you're able to kind of channel that. So did that come from, just the things that you went through or the way that your parents raised you? Or was it like a specific thing that kind of forced you into like that kind of quiet strength?
I think DNA has a lot to do with it. I think just observing my parents and the way they maneuvered through life, the way they dealt with issues that were difficult at times. My father went down to Georgia for seminary to the church headquarters Waycross, Georgia, y'all. My father would go down there for seminary, and every year that he went down until he got his degree, every year he would take a group to desegregate a restaurant. Wow. And he was one of those people that you would not have known that that's something that he would do. Mm-hmm. But I think those were things that I got from both my mom and my dad. My mom started out when we were little, taking in laundry. then she would go and work at other people's homes. And then she decided to work at a mental facility, a rehab facility. And that's when she decided to go to school. And it wasn't until her 40s that she decided to go. She got her LPN. So that perseverance and that strength. My brothers and I say we never heard them yell at each other. Never heard them argue like that. We knew when they had disagreements, but they solved them and they did it, and not in front of us.
See, and I don't mean to interrupt things, but we're gonna have to learn how to do that, because that's a hard one right there. How did y'all do that in this generation? Because I tell you what, I try not to be mad. I do, and I try. I'm gonna have to get it together before I have kids.
You can be mad. You can be mad. You can be angry, but there's a certain way I think that you have to resolve those issues, and it's not by yelling and screaming. It just doesn't work.
Very true.
Although I know some people would disagree with me, but it doesn't work for me.
Right. Love it. We're actually going to take a question from one of our viewers, Miss Abby. She has a question for you. What life lesson have you learned as a woman that every woman must know?
You are enough. Just what I was saying early. You are enough. You have everything within you to make you what God intended you to be. It's there. It's there. And so it's our job to nurture it, to recognize it, because I think sometimes people don't take the time to stop and know who they are, know how special they are.
Right.
And then once you do, then you nurture that and you continue to work on yourself. Has to do a lot with what you were saying, Raj. Self-care. Recognizing who you are and what you need.
That's right. I love that. Thank you for that question, Abby. That was a great question.
Yeah, that was good.
So I want to get into your career around education. 37 years in the Boston public school system. I know you were a principal at the Linden School when you retired. We're going to just delve deeper into it, but I just want to start off by asking you, who have been some of your greatest inspirations in your career?
Okay. I think I would say Mary McLeod Bethune, who started a school right in the times post Civil War. And I'm trying to think of her, Mavis. Trying to think of her name at this time. I can't think of it. But anyway, Marva Collins, that's who I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Who started Chicago Prep.
Wow.
They are really examples to me of some people who can take very little and make something big from it.
That's incredible. So in that vein of, like, you know, you're teaching, and so you start off. Let's go back to 1974. You're just beginning as a teacher, and you're thrown into a situation that most teachers would probably be terrified.
Right.
Teaching in the middle of this. Can you talk to us about that experience?
Well, it was very interesting because I was a transplant from another town, from New Jersey to Boston. I really wasn't familiar with the whole argument and the hullabaloo around desegregation. And so when I went to pick up my assignment, I walked in and I saw these other women of color walking out close to tears. And I'm saying, whoa, you know, what's going on? And so I went, got my assignment. And it wasn't too long after that when I realized, okay, South Boston is one of the hotbeds. That's where the folks were prepared to throw rocks at buses and to protest on the hill in South Boston near the high school. The one thing that they did was to desegregate the teachers in the elementary schools, but not the kids that first year. So they desegregated the teachers and the students for middle and high. But we, as elementary school teachers who were assigned to different schools throughout South Boston, had no escort, had no protection. So we were driving down the boulevard to go to our schools in our cars, and the streets were lined with U.S. Marshals shoulder to shoulder as we're driving in. And I remember after the first week, a couple of teachers had their windshield smashed, tires slashed, and all kinds of mayhem. I remember dropping a teacher off at the school that I ended up being assigned to, and there was a kid waving a broom on fire in the yard.
Wow.
And as I was dropping her off, I said, "Do you want me to walk in?" Because there my mom and dad showed up because I was ready to go, let's go. And she said, "Nope, I'm fine." But I stayed there and watched her as she walked in. He didn't come near her. I don't think he said anything to her. But after that week, we met with a city activist who arranged for us to have escort. So we ended up driving to the same staging area that other teachers were driving to, the middle and high school teachers. And we'd get on this little yellow bus and it would go around and drop us all off at our different places.
Wow.
So we went to school with that kind of atmosphere, environment. And not only that, okay, so we were dealing with kids, and I remember I was teaching Title I at the time, which was, they didn't give any of us classrooms. None of the teachers of color had a class that they were responsible for. We were all doing remedial work. Wow. So I remember we were working. I was working with a little boy, and he was working, and we had a good relationship. And he said, "If I had a bomb, I'd bomb all those people in Roxbury," which is a predominantly Black neighborhood. And I said, "If you did that," I said, "you'd bomb me." He said, "Oh no, Miss Brooks, no, I wouldn't do that to you." But he was just repeating things that he had heard at home.
Exactly.
And I was able to make a change, a difference in the way that he was thinking when he said that. So
that's what I wanted to ask you. Were you at this time, you were assigned, but you were teaching all white students even?
All white students that first year.
Wow, that was my only.
And how do you kind of fix your brain? Like, you're an educator, so you want to teach and you're supposed to be unbiased and all these things, but you're dealing with this. I know you had told me a story before, like a sticker or something that the principal was wearing.
Oh, yes. Yes, the principal was actually racist. And the school song turned out to be "Southie is my hometown," which glorified the area where all of the mayhem was. And she was always informing the neighborhood about what was going on in the school, because there was one woman who grew up in South Boston, and she was kind of a hippie type, and her father owned a pharmacy in South Boston, and someone threw a brick through his window because she was teaching Black kids at that time at the Perry School.
Wow.
So it was wild.
Can I ask you, because I graduated from East Boston High. Was EC the same? Like, was there the same kind of, because I remember South Boston, my mom when we first moved to Boston, she worked in South Boston, and she said that at night she could never get a taxi cab home. Like they would not even stop for her. And this was probably in the 90s. So you're
Right.
talking about in the 70s. Did Eastie have the same stuff going on at that time as well?
Eastie wasn't as seriously bad as South Boston and Charlestown were. Those were the two hotbeds. Eastie was a little bit more spread out, I guess, and there was a more integrated neighborhood. Charlestown and Southie were not.
Wow.
So talk to us about the journey of going from that to being a principal at a school that you created, that you helped to create.
Right.
That's like a glow up. That's a,
Right. So one of the things, I was at the Perry School, which is the school I started at in Boston Public Schools. I was there for 21 years. And not long after I was there, probably about 5 years, they gave all teachers of color the option to move out of Boston, out of South Boston, and go to another school. They guaranteed an assignment. And I was the one and only teacher of color in that school. And so I did not feel comfortable leaving the kids and being an influence in that place. And so I was there for 21 years until a colleague that I had taught with thought of me when this new idea came up. The superintendent at the time was trying to combat charter schools because charter schools take money away from the public schools in Massachusetts. It's not that way across the country, but it is that way in Massachusetts. And so the money would be pulled away, the budget would be less. And so the superintendent decided to start what she called pilot schools. And those were schools that had a lot of leeway, a lot of choices and decisions that we could make. And so someone called me, a colleague, and said, "Do you want to work on this school with us?" And I said, "I sure do." It was perfect timing. And I went and we got together. We had a budget, so we didn't have to worry about money. And we put this school together, and we started with kindergarten and the first grade. And then we were going to add a grade each year as we moved through. And that's what we did until we got up to sixth grade. And then the parents, and this, let me tell you, this is one thing that I learned because the school was in a predominantly white neighborhood. And it was 33, 33, 33. It's Latino, Black, and white. And the parents were trying to get control of that school so that they could make it predominantly white because it was performing above what other schools were performing in the city. And so when I go there now, I can count on one hand how many kids of color in each classroom.
Can I ask you something though? How you feel about that? Because I just want to salute you for you to even put up with what you did at the Perry School for 21 years. That is like the long game of activism. That I can't imagine how many hundreds of kids you affected, and in a positive way. But how do you feel now going to this next school, the Leiden School, and seeing that?
It saddens me. It really does. I remember the superintendent at the time was a woman of color. And there was this push. She was getting this push from the school committee and from the white parents in order to stem the tide against white flight. She agreed to a new student assignment process. And that student, I knew when I heard it because my administrative team was all white except for me. There were 3 of us. And I remember when we were talking about this new assignment process. And I said, it's segregating the kids all over again. That's all it is. It's re-segregation.
Right.
And she looked at me like, what? And sure enough, that's what's happened.
Wow.
That's what has happened. And it's happening across the nation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's happening across the nation. I heard a statistic today, and it made me think about it because I remember when I was talking, I had received a recognition, an award, and I said, I'm not quite sure whether this desegregation, this integration project really worked. Because when our kids, right after the war, after Civil War, on up through Jim Crow, on up through 54 Brown versus Board of Education, our kids were being taught by teachers of color, teachers who knew their culture, teachers who lived in their neighborhoods. And now the achievement gap continues to spread as a result of the order to integrate. 40% of our administrators and teachers of color lost their jobs. And so there's this problem now where kids are being taught and not learning about their own legacy, about their own past, about what happened before slavery. And I don't know about you guys, but I remember there was probably only 2 paragraphs about slavery in my history book. And nothing else, not much more. I know I'm much older than you guys, but
no,
it was the same. Yeah,
right.
It wasn't. There was like they were like Martin Luther King Jr.,
Martin Luther King,
Tubman,
Rosa Parks,
and that's it.
That's it.
Right?
A little, and that's it. That's all.
Yep.
And they're even fighting to remove that at this point.
Yes.
They're even fighting for
Insane.
that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I have a question for you, Miss Brooks Roberts, though, because given all that you have seen and given all that you have been through, do you even, and I know this might sound, I don't mean this to sound hopeless, but do you really believe that integration works then, given our current challenges within our society? Should we even continue to work on integration, or should we be more focused on building our own for our own communities and, institutions that serve us in the way and educate us in the way that we need to be educated?
That's what BUA is about. That's exactly what BUA is about. I think that it's a failed, unless you have teachers who are allies, teachers who are allies, who care for the kids, who care to know about their lives, who they are, you're not going to have, integration is not going to be successful. And so if you have children that are in regular public schools, then you're going to have to work to supplement what they learn. Otherwise, they're going to, they're not going to know their rich heritage. They're not going to understand or know, and they're going to aspire to the dominant culture.
Say that.
You know what we need? We need to bring Mom here, and we need to do a panel discussion with the principal of the DMLK.
Yes. And Malika.
And Malika.
Yes, and Malika.
Trifecta.
Because I would love to hear your take, Mom, on unschooling. And I think a lot of brown and Black parents are unschooling their children for this very reason. And you kind of touched on a question that I have was, what do you think is the biggest threat to our education system? And do you think is a solution? So do you think this is the biggest threat to our system?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're leaving a whole bunch of kids behind. I heard a quote and I said, I don't know if I would say that, but what this person said, I was listening to Urban View, which I listened to a lot on Sirius XM. Yeah. And basically, she was saying that there is no way no way that our kids are going to get what they really need to get in a regular public school.
Yeah.
It's the education of the white slave masters' children.
Come on.
And when I heard that, I said, whoa, that's a really
Right.
poignant statement. And
Mhm.
I'm not sure I agree with that. But when you think about it, particularly in the southern states, and I say that with some caution, because I think about the HBCUs.
Right.
I
Right.
think about I wish I'm going to look for one to see if there's research on people of color who graduate from HBCUs and their achievements in life afterwards versus people who went to regular, predominantly
Right.
white colleges and institutions.
You got to imagine at the very
Yeah, I mean,
least that their pedigree is well-rounded and that it more well-rounded than at the non-institutions of color.
Right.
Right. I mean,
Right.
it's designed to condition to condition these kids to maintain this dominant narrative, and and big
I'll
upstate.
tell
Oh, I'm
absolutely.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I apologize, Michelle.
It was breaking up.
No. Oh, okay. No, I was just gonna say. I mean, and I think like the culture and environment that's created at HBCUs is so necessary. But I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I was taken aback when I realized that like some of our most well-known HBCUs are named after white people. I was like, wait, what? Like I was really confused.
Sponsored by.
That's right.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And so it just makes me question, like, and like I said, I understand that people see, these places like Howard and Morehouse, wherever, as like a mecca. You know what I mean? And I respect that. And I think it's so necessary as we're living in this country as people of color to find our people and to know our culture and to cling to that. Because we're so much more than the dominant narrative has been telling us. But at the same time, it's just like, unpacking that and trying to figure out, like, I don't even trust. I don't know. I mean, it's just really, really wild. The history
I'm reading something now based on the Freedom Schools. It's called Teach Freedom.
Ooh,
and it's a compilation of different stories about different freedom schools and their approach. And it's very interesting because I think that it was birthed out of that whole lack of education, of richness, of understanding of the culture, of caring, of all of the things that our kids of color need. They need that hug. They need that touch. They need to be able to work together, not compete against one another.
Right. And
They need to know the tenets of just being a decent person in life. And you look at some of our kids and all of those young boys doing mass murders and bombs and all of the things that they're doing, and it's because they haven't been taught.
Yeah. I'm not even going to talk about shoot. I'm not going to go. Never mind. I ain't going to go down that rabbit hole. I was going to say something about about young white men shooting up places. We not going to go there tonight. But I do want to acknowledge something. Joe Folke said that majority of these universities are named for abolitionists or Freedmen's Bureau members, and I hear that too, sis. It's always a tricky thing, when you follow the money behind some of these institutions. That does not mean, though, that the work that they do is not good, and that doesn't mean that maybe some of these white people that they're named for, or white people who are part of the board, are not helping. Like Miss Sherry said, allies for sure. But it's just, something to keep an eye out for. But the dude said also the networks of color that emerge from those institutions, that is also an added value as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I have another question for you. this is such a powerful discussion, and I'm trying to like make it work like where it kind of flows good because I have so many questions. But obviously I don't want to have you on here all night, Mom. I'm respectful of your time. One thing though is, as an educator, has there been one thing that you wish you knew before you started teaching? That just something like, I wish I had known this before I became an educator.
It's very practical. This brings up the whole idea of teacher institutions that teach teachers. I didn't know how to teach reading. I was never taught how to teach reading, and I was a primary school teacher. And so the institutions, the teaching colleges, I feel, do not do a good job of balancing the two things. One is the rigor of teaching, the work. It's they touch on special needs, they touch on lesson planning, they touch on, but the actual work of teaching reading or teaching mathematics, or even being able to manage a class. And so teaching colleges have done a lot to change that whole way of moving and the way of teaching, but it still has a whole lot more to go. Teachers coming out of teachers' colleges now have to have at least 2 years of internship before they get their degrees. I'm not degrees, before they get their cert.
Okay.
And so that is the one thing that I felt I did not have, the work of teaching, the ins and outs and the particulars. I could charm my kids, they loved me. But then if I couldn't teach them a first grader, I had first grade. If I couldn't teach them how to read, what good am I? I can give them all the love they want, but if they're leaving me not knowing those basic skills. So that's the one thing.
Awesome. Thank you. So we kind of touched on like what you feel is the biggest like threat, I guess, to education. But I would love to know, so you went from 1974 being bused on a small, tiny bus to the Perry School to helping to build a program at the Linden School. And now you are creating your own school, which is Boston Urban Academy. Yay! So I want to know how this idea was birthed, take us through the process, and also where is the process now? When will the school begin? And what are some ways that we can help support you?
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, actually, from my experiences, understanding that kids were getting a watered down curriculum. It was not, the expectations of kids of color were not there. We, from the Linden, we would graduate about 2/3 of our kids from the 6th grade into Latin school, into the exam. They called them exam schools, but the others would be left, and they would end up getting a substandard education because of their language deficits, or people not caring to really teach beyond the curriculum, working beyond. I remember all the time that I was there at the Linden, I was asked into the classrooms to speak about my trip down south with my dad when there were still segregated bathrooms and water fountains. And I always offered myself to the 4th grade teachers because they taught a particular book. The Joneses go to North Carolina or something like that. I forget the name of the book, but it was the one book that talked about a Black family getting ready to travel down south during the Jim Crow laws and what they had to do in order to prepare. So they would ask me to come in. I was asked in the 15 years that I was there, I was asked into the classroom probably about 5 times.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Wow. Mm.
And so the kids that were learning were the white kids that were leaving, and a smattering of Black students and Latino students who were able to go to the exam schools.
Mm-hmm.
But then the others were left behind, I would say. And in those upper grades, 7 and 8, some were ready to go to exam schools after that, but then they were going to, and I always said that a lot of the exam school teachers didn't teach because the kids were motivated to teach themselves and to learn what they needed to learn.
Wow.
And so there was this whole deficit when it came to teaching kids and bringing them from where they were to where they need to be. And that takes skill. And I know a lot of times people think that all they have to do is teach the curriculum and not worry about whether kids get it or not, whether they need another entree into the skill that they're being taught or into the information that they're being taught, whether there need to be bridges made for them in order to grasp the content. And what really hit me was we had bilingual Spanish classes, and there was a law that was passed that kids had to take the high stakes test after they've been in the country 2 years. Now, come on.
Wow.
2 years.
Oh, come on.
And they're supposed to take the high stakes test where they're answering questions, writing 5-paragraph essays. And one of the essay questions was, write about a day when you had a snow day. What did you do?
Oh my God.
A lot of these kids hadn't even seen snow.
Right.
Just not even for them.
So yeah,
they don't even consider their background or anything. Yeah.
So the whole idea of assessment and testing and how biased it is against people who are not white.
Right.
You know, that craziness, and then kids spending weeks preparing for the test instead of really getting salient, rich information. So that's what's brought me from that's what's brought me from where I was to where I am now when I'm talking about Boston Urban Academy. I am pushing for us to use as the Ngozi Saba, which for Kwanzaa, the 7 principles. That's the basic for our school. That's the foundation. Our kids are going to learn how to become unified, how to determine who they are, being able to work together collectively, being able to, oh, wow. We're working on a new one now.
Awesome.
Collective responsibility, working together, collaborative in their economics, purposeful, creative, and being able to have faith in each other and in the world around them. And so those are the principles, and those are rich. Absolutely. You know, you can deal with them throughout your whole career and never have attained fully what it means to be creative and to be self-determined, because those are all ongoing principles.
Right.
Amen. Amen.
What I love is that you're not only just focusing on like school curriculum, you're focusing on life curriculum.
Life, absolutely.
Where you are preparing them for actual life through your care and guidance. And that's beautiful.
So necessary.
We have a question in the comments. Absolutely. We have a question in the comments from Aunt Ned. Hey, Aunt Ned. And she asks, is your school going to take in special education students?
Good question. Yes. Lynette, up to those people, those kids, not necessarily the kids you teach. Lynette teaches a substantially separate classroom. And the children are extremely low. But those students who have an individualized plan, that will not dissuade us necessarily from taking a look at them, because there are a lot of kids that have been labeled behavioral issues, or even we had a kid that came into one of our substantially separate classrooms in the Linden, and he was a whiz at math.
Wow.
And we're saying, what's this kid doing here in this class? So we did what we could to make sure he got out of that class. He got into the mainstream where he needed to be. And that is what we're aiming for with all of our kids. And we know there are some kids who are who have low IQ, but sometimes that just means that the test was skewed. Doesn't mean that they really are low IQ.
Right. You love all students.
Yes.
And that's the beautiful thing. Now having children in the education system and seeing like how they are like kind of boxed out, like, not so much at their school now, but before, when Lila was in kindergarten, you know all about that, Mom. But you can see it. And even still in their school, there's like the testing and, they don't match this number 100%. But I just love the way you talk about your students. And for you to stay at that school, as Raj said, for 21 years shows your love and passion for the students. You did not penalize the students for being in this situation. And
right.
So I love the model behind your school. Is there a launch date that you have, and what are some ways that we can help support?
We're intending to start in September of 2022, but it is going to be contingent on funding. We're seeking funding as I speak. And what you can do is continue to talk the school up, continue to, and we'll have a website up and running where people can give donations if they'd like to donate money to the school. But at this point, we were supposed to be up and running as far as the website by the end of April, but that's not happening. It's the end of May. The designer of the website got sick, COVID.
Oh, no.
And the flu.
Oh, gosh.
So we're a little behind on that, but it will be soon, very soon. And I will let you guys know.
Please do.
I'll let you know, and I'll let you know how people can contribute if they choose to contribute.
Absolutely.
But send the prayers up. That's all. Just pray for us as well.
We got you. And maybe we can even do like the SIP Presents and do an event, and where we raise money for the school.
That sounds great.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
So I want to talk about, and I know the time. Are you good?
I'm fine.
Okay, awesome.
I'm fine.
So in all of the things that we do in our lives, there's always high moments, and then there's always some low moments. That's just a part of life. What is a time when you went through an extremely low moment in your life, and how were you able to persevere out of that moment?
I got pregnant. As a single woman. I got pregnant and I did not know what to do. And for a long time, through the pregnancy, I had no care. I did not tell anybody. I was one of those church girls. shamed.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until I was almost at my 9th month when I finally told some people. Everybody, I was a big girl anyway, so everybody just thought, they didn't think that I would be pregnant, except for a few people, I'm sure. But Lynette's my sister friend. That's my girl. She knew, and my small crowd of people knew. But then I had to tell my mom and dad, and I was ashamed and didn't know what to do. And so I was teaching too. I was at school. Didn't tell anybody there.
Wow.
But I ended up telling folk, and it was funny because I thought about the child. I thought about Aaron. It was Aaron who was in my womb. And I said, okay, I have to get myself together because this is a person, this is a being, and I have to be a mother to this child. And so I finally bit the bullet, told people, and it wasn't long after that when Aaron came. And he's one of my joys, I tell you. It was special. That's what brought me out. And there were people who supported me beyond my close friends. I remember a woman coming up to me at church and saying, listen, stop being ashamed of yourself. She said, half these women here did the same thing you did.
That's right.
And when she said that, and I said, oh, wow, that just dropped, a whole burden dropped.
Wow.
From me.
Amen for the aunties.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was one of my low spots, but I tell you, what came out of it was joy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that. Oh my God.
And thank you for sharing that.
Oh man.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we can deal with shame and we deal with it alone.
Yes.
You know, and we don't have people to really, but God put that group of people around me, that support system. And so I used it, and I wasn't disappointed.
Wow.
Thank you so much for sharing that. We look up to you so much. We just have to say that, like, each of us. I can speak for all three of us, and for everybody in these comments too. I don't know if you see the comments on your screen.
I don't.
Yes.
But you're just getting so much love, and we just appreciate you for being here and sharing of your time and of yourself, and just dropping the gems and the wisdom. And we just have a few more questions for you. I know, Raj, you have a question for her, so if you wanted to ask that.
Yeah, I have like 5 at once, and I feel like we need to have a whole nother conversation with you because I have so many questions about like standardized testing and all that, but I'm gonna leave that for another day. More than anything, I wanted to know what words of wisdom would you like to give to other teachers? I know my cousin Mel was on. I have a lot of educators in my family as well, and I just feel for our teachers. They just went through a year of pandemic madness, and now without even much of a break, they're literally going to go right back into the school year and expected to behave as normal. So I just wanted to know, like, what words of wisdom will you give these young teachers who have to now soldier on, in this crazy climate?
Yeah. Get what you need. I just think that it's just so important to understand what you need and ask for it of the right people. Understand that a lot of times, and I learned this when I moved from South Boston into the Linden School in West Roxbury. Those folk knew the mayor's name knew the mayor by his first name. Oh, well, I'm going to call Tom about that. And I'm saying, whoa, and I realized that that's what you need to advocate for yourself with the right people.
Right.
And not let things go by and let things go until you get to a boiling point where you can't take it any longer. But to understand what is needed, if you feel this is going too fast as far as the masking is concerned, and it's no mask, it's a mask. Do what you need to do. And if there's a ruling against it or whatever, find your allies and come together and talk it through. But give yourself that opportunity to deal with those things that you're able to deal with. Now, I know that there may be some things that nobody wants to hear about, but that doesn't mean if you can make a case for what works and what you know works, then you should be bold enough to speak up and say what you need to say. That's what I'm saying as far as teachers are concerned. Curriculum, it's again, curriculum needs to be rich. And so if you find that your curriculum doesn't fill some gaps that are in it, fill it. Find what works and fill it. It may be a little more work, but do it for the sake of your kids.
Wow.
That's right.
Fight for yourself. I love that.
Perfect.
I love that. And hey, my mama's on here. Hey, Ladybug.
Hi, Deborah.
Mama Deb.
She said, so much love for such a powerhouse, gentle giant. Yes, you remind me of like the quiet battle, man. This is wow.
Oh, thank you, Deborah. Thank you.
Oh, hey, Mel. She said, advocating for students and teachers, curriculum, fill the gap. Yes. That's the thing. We have to create whatever we're missing.
We have to.
Right.
We have to.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, that's apparent that you have done that in your entire life and in your career, Mom. So we definitely salute you for that. And I just have a couple questions just around your self-care. Like, what does self-care look like for you? If you have the day to yourself, what are you doing?
I anticipated this question and I thought about it. I get up in the morning. I do some breathing exercises, qigong, and I get on the floor and I do some strengthening exercises. Raj, I haven't left it all alone.
Yes.
And I take a 2.5 mile walk.
With Coltrane.
With Coltrane can't.
Oh, he doesn't walk anymore.
No.
That's your little dog?
Yes.
Oh,
Maestro's done.
Right.
I still have a piece of Maestro left.
I know. Poor Maestro.
And then when I come home, I have a devotional time where I just read and get a thought for the day and make some affirmations, Carrie. That's when I do my affirmations, and I do it in a journal. And then I go about my day, whatever else is left. I give myself at least 2 hours of time toward the school. So I'm working on that as well. Reading, researching, writing. That's what I need. You guys specifically, I need someone who's really good at strategic planning.
Okay.
Because I consider myself, I am a visionary, but the details need to come from someone else to help us through that whole process.
Yeah.
I hope you're able to find that.
Yes.
Are there any prospects?
That out there into the universe.
Yeah, but we're going to put that out. Yeah.
Right. And is there like a way people can apply on the site or anything?
Oh, I never even thought about that because we can do so much on Zoom. That's how we meet as far as our board is concerned anyway.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody here on this Zoom talk who has a skill in that and wants to work us through, that would be great.
Listen, email us at heygirl@thesitpodcast.com and we will make that connection.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I know Raj had a question around music for you.
Oh, yes, I did. Okay, and I know we have taken up so much of your time already, but I could not let the moment pass because I know that you are also a musician. Everything that I've heard about, and I admire you. I want to say the time that I have spent with you has been just healing and inspiring for me too. So I just didn't want to let it go by without saying that. But Aaron has talked a lot about his memories of growing up with you as a musician. I know that I have heard your beautiful voice. I have heard you sing. I have sung with you.
Yes.
And I also know you play piano. What was it like growing up in a musical household? And will the music be a part of the Boston Urban Academy?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But my mother played piano by ear at church. My father sang. Yeah, and he and his uncle they knew all the hymns.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in a Pentecostal church, and they didn't sing hymns. They just sang the chorus to some of the hymns. And I remember when I heard Uncle Sam and my father sing, I said, oh, that's the other part of the song. But I picked up piano the same way that my mother did.
Yeah.
And when I first came to Boston, I only played piano in C and G. And the person who was the organist for the church that I was attending said, oh, you're going to learn how to play more than that. And you're going to learn how to play hymns. And sure enough, that's what happened. So shout out to David Mahone. He always, when I tell him that he taught me how to play, he says, oh, no, I didn't. But he did. He did. And I knew the hymns. I learned the hymns and I learned regular songs. And Lynette, who is online, she and her late husband and I were a trio.
Oh, I would love to hear that.
Killing.
But yeah, that's how I have learned and grown to play. Now this new stuff, it's all chords. It's just chords. But yeah, music is definitely going to be part of it. I would love to have a drum group.
Oh, come on, drum group for the school? That would be awesome.
That
would be great. Listen, y'all need a whole drum line. If you're going to do it, just go on and do it.
I love it. Joe Folky says, right on, music education is necessary everywhere.
You know, all the kids, my granddaughter, she has a song for everything. The vowels. She has a song for that. Of course, we have the alphabet song. There are all kinds of songs that you can just make up, and kids learn that stuff in no time.
Yeah,
because it has beat and it has melody, and it soaks right into our DNA.
Yeah, it taps into our internal vibrations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is.
You're getting some more love. Camille says, love, Miss Sherry.
Love you, Camille.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Mom. Does anybody else in the comments who's watching have any questions, or do you have any more questions, Raj? And Carrie, before we go to our rapid fire.
I just want to say I salute you. I just want to say, we often we think about our daily struggles, but it's always beautiful to have someone on the show who can remind us of the long game of like really building institutional solutions for the problems that we have in our community. So I'm so honored that you came to hang out with us on our show and talk about such a big project that you're working on with this school. So we appreciate you so much, lady.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for thinking about me and asking me to come on.
Of course.
I appreciate it. And I do. I love you guys, all three of you. You're such examples and so talented. Yes, so talented.
I know I missed it.
In your own right.
Thank you so much, Mom.
You're welcome. And we'll do this again.
We absolutely will.
Yes,
We're
please.
going to cook up some
Yes.
ideas. We're going to
Yeah.
cook up some ideas
Absolutely.
because we want to support you. So, like, you know, ever since you've told me about the school, I've been like, yes, like the moment that we can support, we will absolutely do that.
All right.
As soon as the website is up, everybody who's listening and watching, we will absolutely post this to our SIP page, our website. We'll link everything so that you can know what's happening with Boston Urban Academy. So we'll make sure we do that.
Great.
And we just have some quick, fun, rapid fire questions for you, Mom, and we will let you go.
Okay.
First one, describe yourself in 3 words.
Shy, quiet, and smart.
Yes. What store do you shop at the most?
Frugal Fannies.
I knew you were going to say that.
Frugal Fannies.
I said she going to either say Filene's Basement or Frugal Fannies.
Filene's is gone.
I know. I miss Filene's Basement, man. Oh.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yep. Filene's is gone.
I knew you. Frugal Fannies. Yes. What's your favorite scent?
Patchouli.
Ooh, love it. Mm-hmm.
What is the most?
There's a story behind that too, but I'll leave that for another time.
For the next time.
That's for SIP after hours, honey. No.
Hilarious. What is the most delightful word you can think of?
The most what?
Delightful word that you can think of.
Oh, man. The most delightful. Fantabulous.
Ooh,
there you go.
Love it. Now, I know the answer to this, but, you know, coffee or tea?
Oh, coffee, of course.
And black and decaf.
That's right.
Yes. With hair on your chest.
Right.
I do have that. Uncle Jimmy used to always talk about me with my one little hair on my chest.
Right. Listen, I have one too. And sometimes you forget to pluck it and you're like, oh man, she hanging out.
Right. Embarrassing me.
Oh my God, it's too funny. What's your favorite workout routine?
Oh, I like the Qigong and the walk.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Walk, I clear my head.
Yeah.
Needing.
Mm-hmm.
If you could be any flavor of ice cream, what would you be?
Chocolate chip.
That's right.
Is that no hesitation, honey?
Ready. And I don't know if you're familiar with the versus battles on social media, like where 2 artists kind of come together. So Patti LaBelle and
I've heard of it.
Gladys did one. So who would you love to see do a versus battle?
Oh, wow. Oh, man.
Anyone, dead or alive?
Luther and my good friend Jimmy.
Ooh.
That would.
I love.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That would be incredible. Yeah.
That's dope.
Well, thank you so much for being here, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody watching, give her some big clap emojis.
Thank
We salute you, Mom, as our sister in power. Thank you so much for bringing your amazing brilliance to the show. We have so much love for you, and we can't wait to have you back on.
Thank
Everybody
you.
have a
You're
beautiful
welcome.
holiday
As always,
weekend.
follow us.
Yes.
Absolutely. Be safe. Check out our YouTube. Become a patron. We love y'all. We see you guys next time.
Actually, we'll be back in 2 weeks. We're taking a week off next week because I'm going to be on
right.
vacation. Party over here. Good night, everybody.
Good
Have a
night,
great
everyone.
weekend.
Love y'all. Be safe. Peace.
Love you.